Well, most of us have heard of the term having a weak heart, but many don't know that heart failure kills more than 400,000 Americans each year. There's no cure, but this condition can be managed successfully in ways that slow its progression and help improve quality of life. 70-year-old Nancy Rajanen has heart failure but leads a full, active life thanks to a small implantable device. Nancy is here today along with Dr. Finn Gustafson, Chief Medical Officer to Abbott's Heart Failure Division, to discuss the conditions, its signs, and how to treat it. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Nancy, I want to start with you. How did you know that you had heart failure, and what's your journey been like?
Well, thank you for having us here. My journey was an unlikely one in that I was living a very healthy lifestyle. I exercised a lot. I ate well. I wasn't overweight, didn't smoke. But yet, when I would exercise, in particular when I was swimming, I would find that I couldn't catch my breath. I was so short of breath. I was unusually fatigued, and so and had quite a cough. So when I went to the doctor, I certainly assumed that it was something like bronchitis or perhaps asthma, but was surprised when they said to me that this is heart failure and sent me to a cardiologist, where I began a series of treatments, both medication and some devices that were used to help the function of my heart.
Or Dr. Gustafson, what are some of the symptoms of heart failure, and what should people ask their doctor if they're experiencing any of these symptoms?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So Nancy already alluded to some of them. So the important ones are shortness of breath, in particular during exercise, so walking stairs, doing groceries, feeling short of breath, an unusual sense of fatigue or tiredness, and then finally heart failure will at some point lead to accumulation of fluid in the body, so swollen ankles or a swollen belly. And you don't need to have all three of these symptoms, but if you have one of them, or the dry cough that Nancy also mentioned, you should see your doctor and ask, could this be heart failure? There are several million people in the US with heart failure, and actually half of them are not diagnosed. So it is really important to actually see your physician and ask, could this be heart failure?
Gosh, such great points. Nancy, how has your life changed for the better since you've had a device implanted to monitor your heart?
You know, it's just given me such independence. I can live my life so fully now because all I have to do in the morning is lean back on what's called a pillow, and it has the sensor sends a signal to the reader in the specialized pillow, and that goes directly to my doctor's office. So what's wonderful is they catch symptoms before or catch a problem before it becomes really symptomatic. So I'm not having to go to emergency rooms. I haven't been hospitalized because my doctor is able to get information about my heart in real time and then make any modifications to my medication, which have allowed me to stay out of the hospital and continue with a very active lifestyle.
Well, that is so good. And doctor, could you tell us about the device, like kind of how it works?
Yeah, so the Abbott CardioMEMS is a small device that is inserted through local anesthesia by a vessel either in the groin or in the neck into a small vessel in the lung. It sits there and measures pressure without a battery, sends, as Nancy says, to a specialized pillow that transmit in turn to the doctor's office and to a secure website. So the doctor or the heart failure nurse can follow pressures every day or 2 to 3 times a week and see if something is not right. If the pressures are going up, indicating that the heart is stressed and that more medications are needed. And then that could be done weeks in advance of symptoms developing, and certainly weeks in advance of the risk for needing to go to the hospital with fluid in your lungs or fluid in your body. So essentially, this is how it works.
Okay, if our audience would love to learn more and maybe learn how to talk to their doctor, where should they go to learn more?
I would really highly recommend they go to the website domoreforheartfailure.com, where they can find more information about heart failure, the disease, the diagnosis, and treatment options, including CardioMEMS.
Thank you so much for talking about this, Nancy. Thank you for sharing your story, and you keep on rocking.
Thank you.